Alright, what's up, y'all? Hope you're doing well. Back with another romance anime review. Today we're talking about a show called May I Ask for One Final Thing. It's a show that released back in late 2025. It got a little bit popular, and I watched it for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. There's some romance parts of it, and of course, obviously, we have to talk about it and review it here today, and that's what we're gonna do. Before we get fully into it, I know this is going on in my head right now, okay? Just don't pay too much attention to it. All right, if you have long hair, you understand sometimes you gotta let it breathe. I'm gonna get it braided again very soon. All right, but just, I'm letting it out today. So if you don't like it, sorry. Like I always say, we strive for one full video per week, and we've been doing that recently. Like I've said, I've been in a romance anime watching mood, so there's been a lot more content coming. Dropped a couple shorts in a video last week. There's gonna be a short coming out later this week on a different romance anime that's not gonna get a full video. And yeah, again, we keep striving for one video per week. You guys have been showing a lot of love, so I try to keep the content going. I've also been better at responding to comments. I responded to a lot of comments the other day, and I'm gonna start doing a better job of that because I definitely leave them unread. Well, yeah, I'd leave them unread a lot of times when people have been showing suggestions and love and all that stuff. So I'm gonna be better at reading comments and doing all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, strive for one full video per week. That's how we're doing things. Now let's get fully into the review. So, May I Ask for One Final Thing? Anime that released in late 2025. It has some romance parts to it. It's not a full, just straight up rom-com type show. There's a lot of other different things to it. Romance is just a tiny part of the show. If you want to know about all the other things, because I'm not going to be explaining every single thing that happens in the entire show, if you want to learn about that, go watch the actual show. I feel like in almost every video, I'm always a fan of go watch the actual show for yourself and formulate your own opinions, because I'm just a random dude here talking about my own personal opinions that don't matter. So always go support the original content and the show. I'm just someone reviewing it and, doing this for fun, I guess. But today we're going to be talking about the little romance parts in this show, because obviously if there's romance there, then I'm there too. We're going to talk about a main romance that happens throughout the entire show, and then a couple little other things that happen in the background. But our main girl we have is Scarlett L. Van Diemen. You might have seen her around on the internet, and she is a total badass. This is one of the most fearless, most mad, most badass, hardcore anime main woman I've seen in a very, very long time. They call her Mad Dog for a reason. They call her Mad Dog because she's not afraid to throw a hand at anybody that has it coming. Doesn't matter how old you are, gender, anything. If you got a problem and you need to get taught a lesson, Scarlett is there to throw the hands. She is super strong, super powerful. She is the queen, and we love and stand her for that. Legitimately really love Scarlett. She's just man, couldn't get more perfect. The main romance going to be following is between her and Julius von Palestine, who is one of the princes of the realm that she lives in. She used to be, so a little bit backstory premise or whatever, she was engaged to Kyle von Palestine, who was one of the next princes to the throne or whatever. But Kyle was a real dickhead, and Scarlett just had to put up with that for many years. And eventually one day at a party in front of basically everybody, Kyle dumped Scarlett for another girl named Terranessa. And they basically throw dirt on Scarlett's name, falsely accuse Scarlett of bullying Terranessa and all that stuff for Terranessa's plan to become the new, princess of the land. And yeah, so now it's Scarlett basically trying to turn around and she's kind of taking on this role now as the villainess. She's painted as the villainess. So she's like, okay, I'm painted as a villain. Let's be a villain then. Even though she's not really a villain, but she has villain tendencies, And Julius is Kyle's brother. He's, I think, the older brother, maybe. I think he's older or younger. I don't remember fully. But he's far different from Kyle. And now he becomes the one that's by Scarlett's side. Has Scarlett kind of part of the royal, some part of the royalty, where she's there for a lot of different reasons. So we're going into the moments. First moment we see a little bit of the past between them, where Julius is one that kind of stuck up for Scarlett a little bit when Kyle was being rude to her and all that stuff, and Julius kind of told his brother, hey bro, you gotta chill out, that's a lady, what are you doing? But Julius is also the teasing, kind of flirty type a little bit, where he kind of does things to Scarlet, kind of flirts with Scarlet a little bit, even though Scarlet's like, I don't care for you that way. But Julius is very flirty. You see in a lot of the entire show, Julius is very flirty, where he will do and say some things here and there, like kind of just put little dashes in of just like little things, and it's like, okay, he's trying to put moves on her a little bit, even though she's not that type of woman, so it doesn't really work on her. But that's what Julius kind of does, you know. The first moment we get in real time is Scarlet and this other kid named Nanika, who is like a beast person. Which, speaking of beast people, go check out my last video. If you like beast people and furry stuff, go check out my last video. It might be worth your while. Nanika is this kid that is like at first like a traitor to the kingdom, but then he turns into like being on Scarlet's side. He can like switch from being a guy to a cat. So those two are kind of like in town. They end up having to fight some random people, you know, that are trying to like hurt them. Julius watches it, and Julius follows them on their travels, you know, and her and Scarlet have some little flirty moments, but Julius kind of takes control and kind of gets a part of the party of Scarlet, Nanika, and now Julius is here. A little bit later, Scarlet goes into town, and Julius follows her, and as the prince, he has to like check on everything. He's being nice, he's buying her different things, you know, like food and all this different type of stuff. And then they end up sitting on a bench together, and they have a little talk like, why are you here, all this type of stuff. And Julius tells Scarlet, like, you're the most interesting thing to me. You know, you've always been the most interesting thing. You know, your attitude, the way you know, hit people, all that stuff. You're very interesting to me. And he ends up kissing her on the cheek. And Scarlet gets kind of thrown off and flustered by it. But she thinks it's him teasing her. This entire time, ever since before, Scarlet always thinks that Julius is doing all these things to tease her. Just to like set her off a little bit, because she has a very kind of thin temper where if something little goes wrong, she could snap. You know, and so Scarlet is always in her mind like, he's teasing me. He's teasing me. He's trying to get me going, and you know, he's in for a beating one day. There's another moment where Scarlet has to go to an auction because they're trying to help. There's this guy named Mr. Godwin who's a part of Terra Nessa, who was the girl from earlier that basically tried to ruin Scarlet's life, and we see she is like the main villain, and she's trying to like take over the kingdom a little bit, or the village or whatever they're in. And so there's this guy named Mr. Godwin who's like one of Terra Nessa's right hand people, and he has an auction of like these beast people, and basically it's basically like selling people at an auction, which is not okay to do. So Scarlet goes to the auction trying to like buy somebody, so that they have this whole plan to like set up and capture Godwin and free everybody. Julius is there to follow her, unbeknownst to her. And eventually they end up talking, and Scarlet asks Julius, hey, can you fix up this plan? Because I want to hit Mr. Godwin. I want to be the one to capture him. So can you set up a plan where your knights that are supposed to capture him kind of come a little bit late, so I can get the first couple hits in? You know, like have them come late or whatever. And so then they all propose a trade for it. So Scarlet says, all right, I'll offer my loyalty to the crown and the kingdom for the rest of my life if you let me do this. And then Julius says, no, 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 no. I want you to value your loyalty to me, to where it gets agreed upon and the plan actually goes out. The plan happens, and both a little bit later, when everybody's kind of reconnected to each other to talk about the plan, Leo, who is Scarlet's brother and also a part of like the royal, he's something, I don't know royal speak or anything like that. I'm sorry, it kind of gets a little bit fuzzy in the brain sometimes you're not watching it right away, you know what I mean? And they both kind of say to Leo like, no, we're vowed to each other. But Scarlet is kind of dense a little bit, so Scarlet says, no, I vowed to Julius, you know? And Julius says, yeah, even though Julius knows he's gonna think we're like engaged or getting married, which I'm not gonna say no to. I'm just gonna let this play out. And Leo's like, oh my god, you guys are vowed to each other. Like, oh my god, that's so nice. You know, my sister finally found something in her life. You know, so that's just a little funny moment. A little bit later, Scarlet beats up Godwin, but Godwin is not fully dead yet. Godwin gets up, shoots Scarlet, but Julius steps in front and takes the bullet for Scarlet, which shocked me. Real time watching it, I was like, no way. Like, he took a bullet for her. This is getting kind of wild. And then Julius gets shot and goes to the ground. Scarlet crashes out, ends up beating up Godwin for his vengeance, to where Julius is okay. He ends up living, all this stuff. Then a little bit later, a while later, Scarlet is having a little tea party with her friends, and her friends are talking about romance. They're like, oh my god, like, I want a man, like, if he tries to die for me, or like something comes up to the point of like, dying for me, or like doing something really risky for me. And Scarlet ends up thinking about the movement with Julius, and she's kind of just like, huh, that's interesting. Not in a way of like, man, do I actually love him or anything like that? But it's just kind of like more of a, huh, that did happen. That's interesting. Off of that moment, they end up walking in a rose garden together, talking about all the things that have been happening, going on. He ends up making a little rose crown for her, puts on her head, and then has more sweet things to say to Scarlet, saying he needs her, wants to stay by her side, and all that. To where Scarlet actually, for the first time we see, gets a little bit flustered. She's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what is, like, Prince Julius? Like, you like me like that? Like, what's going on? And then he ends up, while this is all happening, he's grabbing her face and all that stuff. He calls her my beautiful toy. Where Scarlet's like, wait, what? Toy? What do you mean by that? To where Julius kind of like ends up gaslighting her into thinking like, oh no, I didn't mean romantically. And I thought that, did you mean romantically? Do you like me? No, I didn't mean that. I just said I want to be by your side for, you know, all this things that are going on for the journey that we're on right now. Because we're on a journey to help out Saint Dan, and there's a lot of different things going on. But he's like, no, I'm on the journey and all this. I mean, I want to be by your side like that way. I didn't mean romantically. To where Scarlet gets really, really mad about it. Exact encapsulation of what Julius and Scarlet is. Where Julius will do one thing, Scarlet will kind of feed into it. Not really, but then kind of think in her head like, huh, what? And then Julius at the end, he's like, wait, no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just messing around with you. And then Scarlet gets mad. That's literally what, like, the things for the first couple episodes, that's all their interactions just go like that. Where they kind of hate each other. It's like a hate, it's like a enemies to lovers type of scenario. A little bit. It has the same vibes and similarities as enemies to lovers in some way, which is pretty cool. Another really small moment when they go to another town, you know, to meet up with this army that helps Prince Julius and them. And there's this knight named Dios who eventually becomes very important to the story. And Dios is kind of like a really kooky, weird, just out there, clumsy guy. And he sees Scarlet, and at first meet, he starts flirting with Scarlet, saying, hey, you want to go out with me? Date me or whatever? And a little moment when Julius grabs her hand away from Dios and is just like, hey, like, stop. To a little later, she's like, are you going to let go of my hand? And he does let go. A lot of stuff happens in between. There's like a whole war and all this stuff that happens. Again, if you want to know the full story, go watch the show. I'm not here to explain everything. We'll be here for 3 hours if I explain everything. But basically, once there's like a little pause in the battle, and one of the groups in the war kind of backs off a little bit, and Julius suggests, okay, now we can all kind of relax a little bit. As soon as he says that, he goes up to Scarlet and hugs her, and then pulls away, stares at her. It's just a moment where you think something's gonna happen. It ends up getting cut off by something else that happens, which we're actually gonna go to a little bit later. But just a little bit of like, hey, let's relax. Ends up hugging Scarlet, maybe as more of just a sign of like things are kind of calmed down a little bit. Like, can we finally like just be here, us together, just with us two? No one else, just us two hanging out. I think that's how I kind of interpreted it a little bit as. But I don't know. This moment, there's other guy named Rhea, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, because he is a little bit part of this love thing as well. Rhea is like trying to convince Scarlet to do something, and Julius tells that guy like, hey, Scarlet can be anywhere she wants to, she can bloom anywhere she wants to. And he has a line where he says, you fall in love with her in just a couple days, trying to be in love with her for 10 years. But he doesn't say love, but he says try that for 10 years instead of right away, and see how that does you. And it's a little, and Scarlet kind of gets thrown off, like, what do you mean 10 years? And so a little bit later that night, they're together walking through the hallway, and Scarlet asks Julius, like, what do you mean trying for 10 years? Like, what were you talking about with that? What does that mean? And instead of answering the question, Julius says, hey, you know, you like apple pie? I like apple pie. Once it's all said and done, once this battle's done, let's go eat some apple pie together and just chill out. Completely avoiding the question. Or probably try to set up a date, because he knows if he answers that question, obviously it's going to turn into love and all that stuff. And I guess maybe him and Scarlet aren't in that position yet, where there's still a lot of stuff going on outside that they have to take care of. So it's like, you know what? After this, we can all eat apple pie, and then we can talk about everything. The like final battle of this show happens where Scarlet and Tyrannessa finally meet up with each other, and eventually Julius was at first fighting a guy named Avalon, who's a part of Tyrannessa's squad or whatever. But with Julius, because we've seen in the episode before, in a scene before, Julius ends up getting poisoned, because for Tyrannessa, her main power that she got from the gods is the ability to basically charm men, where she lets out this like dust and like this aura of thing and flowers, and if a guy breathes it in, he ends up getting charmed by Terranessa and ends up basically becoming ultra loyal to her and doing her bidding. That's how this kind of war starts, and that's how everybody that's a part of Terranessa's group or squad, that's how they got there. It's because Terranessa basically seduced all of them in a way. And so Julius ends up getting poisoned from Terranessa's charm and has to turn to Terranessa's side. So in the final battle ends up being Julius and Scarlet having to go at it. And Terranessa did this because he was like, okay, the one way to get to Scarlet is to go for her prince, and that's Julius. But then she gets thrown off because Scarlet's like, okay, I gotta fight Julius. Let's go. To where she's like, what? That's not gonna throw you off. I get to fight your prince. And she's like, we're not even in love. Like, what are we talking about? Like, because again, Scarlet is down. Scarlet does not discriminate. She's like, okay, yes, I do have a care for Julius. Yeah, he's important, but it's like, gotta beat his ass, gotta beat his ass. I don't know. And even during the fight when Julius is quote unquote possessed by Terranessa, Julius still has like his flirting with Scarlet, where they're both kind of going back and forth, bantering a little bit about different things, to where even Terranessa's like, all right, like you guys are still flirting even when I'm Charlie. Like, what is going on here? A little later, Scarlet gets into a little bit of a predicament against Terranessa, to where Terranessa's basically trying to steal her blessings, you know. And so Terranessa forces Julius, like, hey, go hold her down, hold your arms down, everything like that, so she can't escape. To where Julius has to get up close to her and kind of hold Scarlet right there, and they're very, very close to each other. And eventually Terranessa reveals, like, oh, so your blessing's not going off. To where Scarlet's like, what are you talking about? And she learns that Julius has a blessing. Because in this world, like, a lot of the humans, all that stuff, get blessings from gods and all that type of stuff. And we didn't really know Julius is, because he never really fought or anything like that before. And so Scarlet's like, what do you mean his blessing? And we learn that Julius's blessing is called the heroic tail, which is basically like his blessing that he will unlock unlimited power once the person he loves is in danger and he has to go save him. He basically gets unlocked ultimate power, unlimited power. And Scarlet learns it, and Scarlet's like, so wait, is it working now? And Julius is like, no, because I don't love you like that. Which kind of a little bit of like a, what? What do you mean? What have the last 12 episodes been? What? Where Scarlet kind of gets thrown off by this and is like, well, I don't love you either. And so now they're just sitting there, and Terranessa's about to steal Scarlet's power, and Terranessa's making fun of him, like, dang, y'all, all this time, y'all weren't even in love, like, all this. And Scarlet in her own head starts to think, and she's like, man, like, maybe it's my fault that we're in this mess, because I never let my feelings out, because I am the way I am, and now we're in this predicament. And then she realizes, she's like, hey, I need to be in love with you to, like, and you'll unlock your heroic tail, right? And Julius eventually's like, yeah. And then Scarlet ends up going up and kissing Julius, basically confirming her love for him, to where Julius's blessing gets unlocked. And while the blessing's getting unlocked and they're kind of defeating Terranessa, he says, I just went on you to say that you loved me. You're basically saying, oh, I was lying, I was capping. You know, I just wanted you to say it so then I can finally use my power. Because it goes back to, for the entirety of the show, for a long time, Julius is like, hey, like, let me help you, basically, with Scarlet. Like, you don't have to do everything on your own. I'm here with you. Like, rely on me a little bit. And kind of in a teasing way, being like, I want you to need my help, in some sort of sense. And it finally comes back full circle to the end, where he was like, yeah, I just need you to say you love me, and now I can help you out. Now we can win the battle. Cool. The battle's won, everything like that. The final scene, everything's good. And Scarlet and her brother Leo are going to this little party that everybody's going to, you know, to kind of celebrate. And while they're in the carriage going to the party, Scarlet's like realizing, wait a minute, did Julius plan all this? Was this premeditated? Where she goes through her entire head, going through all the interaction and being like, wait, did Julius mess up the interaction with Terranessa and put himself in that position to then eventually, because again, he said, I want you to rely on me. I want me to use my power to help you. And I want you to rely on my power. Like, was this all a setup just for that to happen? Just so I can confess my feelings? Just so I could finally rely on him in that sort of way? And she gets ultra pissed. And at the party, Julius is there with the apple pie, like they promised earlier, being like, hey, let's go eat some apple pie together. To where Scarlet is so mad, and Julius is really happy that she's mad. And basically, yeah, she ends up asking one final thing, can I beat you up? In the English dub of this, was incredible because, okay, so I started watching the Japanese sub, I'm sorry, and then I switched to dub in the middle because I started doing like multicast things. I wanted to have it on the background. But usually when I watch the show first time, I watched it in sub because I don't know, so I watched it every time. I was dub to see. But I started sub and I went dub because I'm like, and the final words of the show in the dub are, may I ask for one final thing? Can I please knock your fucking teeth out? And that's how it ends. And it was like, perfect. Cinema. That's exactly how the show should have ended. One constant thing throughout the show I also forgot to mention is that Julius really likes letting Scarlet like go ham and let her beat everybody up. To where everybody else around her, like Leo and everyone else, is like, Scarlet, don't beat anybody up, please. Stop, you're gonna get us in trouble, you're gonna do all this stuff. Julius is the only one that's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, you want the final hit? I will change everything around. Like, literally in the last battle with Terranessa, he's like, I'll guard you, I'll put a spell on you to be whatever. Go kill Terranessa. That's what you want to do. She wants to land the final blow, go do it. You know? Like, he likes her being who she is, and he likes her, like, being aggressive and beating people up, and secretly probably likes getting yelled at by her. Like, he's a little masochist inside, which I kind of can't really be mad at. But yeah, a really nice one, because to be completely honest, at first, I didn't really like Julius the first couple episodes. It felt kind of weird that he was just kind of like, I don't want to say forcing himself on her. Yeah, a tiny bit. Where it was just kind of coming out of nowhere and just kind of flirting with her. And it's like, all right, where did this come from? Like, what are you doing here? But then eventually at some point halfway through, I guess I kind of maybe got used to it. Kind of was just like, you know what? Yeah. Because, well, I think once Scarlet started like going back at him and they started playing off each other banter-wise a little bit more, I kind of realized, I was like, oh, you know what? This is nice. You know, they're bantering, they're bickering off each other, but also have some sweet moments. And it ends off very, very well, where everything kind of coming full circle. So yeah, I really like the Julius and Scarlet pairing. At first, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. To the end, I'm like, I love it. This is great. There was another guy that actually falls in love with Scarlet in the show too, called Flame Ray Vanquish. I probably so butchered that name. I'm sorry, but you'll see a picture of him up here. He's from the Vanquish Empire, which is like supposed to be like an enemy city of Palestine, you know. And Vanquish, we first meet him at the point where they're at the auction with Gawain, and Gawain, I think, paid Vanquish or someone to like be a part of his team and kind of like help him out a little bit. And once he sees Scarlet beating everybody up and being the leader of this plan, Vanquish goes up to her and like confesses his love for Scarlet, being like, I love you. Basically, like, you're a woman that can beat anybody's ass. Marry me. You know, very, very relatable. I see you. Even at this point, he even flips on Gawain, because Gawain's like, bro, like, what are you doing? And Vanquish even like hits Gawain and kind of beats up Gawain a little bit. He's like, I'm sorry, man, but like, look at her. Like, I want her. I'm gonna be on her side. And Scarlet beats him up constantly and basically throws him away, kind of. But Vanquish will still keep fighting. A little bit later, during all this war is happening, Prince Julius and Palestine get Vanquish to help them, even though they're enemies. They get together to help because Vanquish has a lot of like dragons and different things that can help in the war. And so eventually they team up, and Vanquish is right there by Scarlet's side every time. Where Scarlet's gonna go beat up monsters, he's right there with her, being like, let's go fight monsters, calling her babe, being like, let's go, like trying to prove himself even. Like sometimes he dives headfirst into a battle, you know, just to prove like, hey, I'm strong, you know, all this kind of being by her side. It's honestly kind of cute in some sort of way. And at the end, whilst the war is finally over or whatever, Vanquish, they're all going back to their own town. Before he goes back to town, he comes up to Scarlet and Julius when they're having their little moment, and he goes up to Scarlet and asks Scarlet, come to Vanquish with me. You know, because this war, you're so powerful, you need to be out there fighting, you know, we need you, basically. And that's when Julius steps in and says, hey, she can do whatever she wants, you know, you love her right now, try loving her for 10 years, all that stuff. And then he ends up suggesting a fight with Julius. So, oh, okay, so you like her too? Okay, let's fight then, let's duel. But he ends up getting knocked out by his own comrades and gets taken back to Vanquish, and that's the last time we see him. We already knew he wasn't going to win or anything like that, but it's just like funny to have a little third character that is like super like obvious, like, hey, I want to be with her, you know, which for good reason. Finally, we even have a little bit of a background romance, which, you know, I love my background romances that you don't expect. With Saint Diana, who is like one of the saints. She's the younger sister technically, kind of, but not really, of Scarlet. And she ended up falling off her little float or whatever because she's going around the city, on a float, and something big happens over there. So Diana ends up falling out of like her little like tower or whatever, and Leo, Scarlet's brother, ends up catching her on his horse in a real Prince Charming moment, to where Diana falls completely for Leo, to where she can't even really do anything without thinking about Leo. And Scarlet eventually learns this and ends up helping set her and Leo up, being a good person that she is. And so eventually Diana asks Leo to go to a little bit of a date at the festival, even though they don't say date. But Leo is really loyal to Diana because obviously she's a big part of like the kingdom and everything. And Leo being a part of it, obviously he's like, I gotta protect Diana. So they go to a little festival together, and they end up, like playing games, getting magic things, doing all this. But during this, Diana's kind of a little bit upset at herself, or kind of down on herself, because she lost her powers. She sees Leo, like Leo doesn't really see this as romance. She just sees this as like babysitting or whatever. And she's kind of feeling bad about herself and kind of talks down on herself. And Leo ends up giving her words like with encouragement and being like, hey, no, you're not. Like, you remind me of Scarlet when she was younger. You're a great kid. You're a great person. You got all this going for you. You're the saint. You're so kind. Like, you should be okay with yourself. And kind of lifts Diana up a little bit. The rest of the show, we see little moments. We don't really get full moments, but we see like anytime Leo says like, I'm gonna go with Diana, or like I protect Diana, Diana kind of goes crazy over him. Overall, this is a really good show. Really good show. Really entertaining. The fighting was really cool. Seeing Scarlet be able to beat everybody up, really awesome to see. You get some betrayal, some moments that you didn't expect. Some romance, a little bit of everything in it, and I really, really, really enjoy it. I think it's a really, really good show. Is there gonna be a season 2? Probably not. I don't know what the full manga everything is. Hopefully there's enough manga for a season 2. I would really enjoy it. Overall, it was a pretty good show. The romance is pretty solid, even though there's not a ton of romance stuff the entirety of the show. It's not like every episode you get a bunch of romance. It's not a romance surrounded show, but the little things we do get are pretty good. And we found one of our best main girls ever in Scarlet L. Van Diemen. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up. It's a pretty good show. That's all I got. Once again, I'm striving for 1 full video per week. Gonna keep that going. Gonna keep the shorts going and continuing. Keep this romance anime going. I'm very excited. There's new ones coming out very soon. I actually was looking at a little bit of the list for the shows that are currently going on right now. Because if you don't know, I don't watch the shows as they go on currently. I wait till they all the 12 episodes come out and then watch them, because I like binge watching stuff. But maybe I'm gonna change that soon. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But so yeah, I was looking at a little bit of like the, shows that are currently going on right now. They're going to be ending for this season, and I'm very excited, man. Just from the thumbnails and the titles, I'm very excited for this current romance thing going on. I'm going to be locked in on a lot of different shows, so there's probably going to be a lot of content coming very soon, and I'm very, very excited for it. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, if you did like the video, hit the like button. That'd be cool. Leave a comment down below about the show or anything like that. It just helps out the algorithm. So like and comment, it would be really cool. If you do like the content, hit subscribe. If you like romance anime, like me talk about romance anime, want to keep up with romance anime or whatever, or just want to support the channel, it'd be really appreciated if you subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my main channel, Everyday Hoops, linked in the description below. We talk about basketball over there, literally the exact opposite of what we do over here. So if you like basketball, know someone likes basketball, let them know about the channel down below. We're going crazy over there. So, have them check it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.